beautiful people. I'm sending you good vibes and a great big hug. Welcome back to Be Better with Suzan. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a TEDx keynote speaker. I'm a happiness coach and also a published author of a book titled One Arm But Not Unarmed. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I absolutely love the show Be Better with Suzan. And the reason is I have this amazing platform to highlight wonderful stories from inspirational people. So today in studio, I have someone that is near and dear to my heart, and his story is just super inspirational. And I would love to introduce you to Lee Perez. How are you, friend?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you here. So how have you been doing during this pandemic?
You know, I've actually been doing pretty well. What I do for a living, it really hasn't changed much. I'm part of the essential services. So not much has changed for me other than just gearing up every time I get out of the house.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, I'm from here, from Houston.
H-Town?
H-Town it is. Like I said, I'm from Houston. I have two wonderful kids, a 9-year-old and a 13-year-old. I do residential sales as far as I do residential roofing sales, that is. And, I've just been doing life, do the best that I can with my ups and downs and persevering, basically.
Yeah. So tell us about the company. Give it a plug.
So the company that I work for, I'm a sales consultant for Amstel Roofing Company.
Okay.
We've been in business for 46 years, so almost 50 years of business, and we service all of Houston, all of Galveston, Houston, Fort Bend, anywhere, all around Houston. So we're all over the place.
So Houston and the surrounding cities.
Houston and the surrounding cities.
And earlier you were talking about your kids, how they're into jiu-jitsu, and I think you're competing soon?
Yes, actually I am. I'm going to be competing in September. It'll be my first jiu-jitsu competition, so I'm looking forward to that, and my son will be competing as well. So I'm going to try to get my daughter to do it as well, so we'll see what happens.
That's fun. And what are your kids' names?
So my daughter's name is Brooklyn, and my son's name is Beckham. Brooklyn and Beckham. Yes.
I love those two names.
Yeah, they're it's interesting. Their mother's sister is actually the one that picked out their names, and it kind of stuck with us. So,
I love it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Brooklyn is adorable. Beckham, that's strong. I love that.
Yeah, thank you.
So adorable. So tell us a fun fact about you, Lee Perez.
So a fun fact about me is I used to be a Navarro cheerleader. So that film on Netflix, that Netflix show Cheer.
Heck
right?
Yeah, it's mind blowing. Like everyone's into it. I was watching something the other day, even JJ Watts, Ellen DeGeneres, like everyone is just completely freaking out over that reality show.
Yeah, it's a really cool show. It brought back a lot of memories when I watched it. We were actually one of the coaches, the current coach now. We were her first squad that she ever coached, and we actually created or started the traditions that they have in place now. And another fun fact is, like, the rules that they have in place was because of the squad that I was on.
Oh, wow.
Because, we didn't make it easy for her.
That is so
neat. It was fun.
Heck yeah. Talk about leaving your footprint, right? Yeah. And that must be so cool to see, because once again, I wasn't familiar with cheer, but then I hear a lot of people talking about it, and I think I saw them on the Ellen show.
Yes.
So that was really cool.
I saw a highlight on that, and that was really cool. They've gotten all kinds of national exposure. It's actually kind of nice to be known, or to be actually been part of that program.
That is wonderful.
I'm honored to be part of that.
Do you plan to go back and visit anytime soon?
I haven't made any plans, but I have been the best. Alumni gets to come back. They do a show off every year.
Oh, wow.
And the alumni gets to come back and watch and be part of that show off that they do before they go to college nationals.
You have to go.
Yeah.
Call me. I'll go with you.
This year. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
It sounds awesome.
You'll get to meet the coach and everything.
Oh, man, that sounds so awesome. So there was a point in your life where you faced some adversity. Why don't you share that with us, how that looks like?
Wow. So my life was full of adversity growing up. It all started with my mother. My mother was a heroin addict, and I was born an addicted baby. And when I was actually born here at the Texas Women's Hospital, at that time it was like one of the newest hospitals, and I was one of like the first NICU babies.
Oh wow!
So one thing I remember is I remember a picture of me with these electrodes in my head because they were weaning me off of heroin. And that's it. I look back and I look at my kids now. They got to take the little pictures with the pink and blue beanies and the pink and blue blankets that they give. It was different for me. And growing up, my mom was in and out of jail. She was like I said, like I mentioned, she was an addict. And I went through drug raids growing up, where they would arrest my mom. I would go to houses where they would just sit around and get high. They would shoot dope up, and
like a scene from
a scene from a movie, exactly. And it's funny because when I actually watch or see a movie that has scenes like that, it actually has traumatized me in a sense, because it just brings back such a horrid memory per se.
I can only imagine, right? You're watching a movie and you see that scene, and that just brings back, rushing back, a ton of memories. Of course, some memories you wish you didn't need to hold on to.
Right.
It must be hard.
It can. It has in the past. I've grown from it. I've definitely grown from it, and I've definitely been able to look at it and be like, that is a part of my past that's no longer there, and now it's just something to look back on and just kind of say, hey, I survived, right?
Absolutely.
I look back and I wonder, like, how did I survive?
Yeah.
How did I do it? Because there was times where my mother would shoot up, pass out, and leave her dope everywhere, her needles and everything like that. And here I am, a little boy, less than 6, just toddler walking around, and easily could have picked up
absolutely
a needle or something.
Absolutely. So not sure if you remember that age, but what were you thinking when you would see the dope laying around and seeing your mom high and passed out?
It's funny that you say. I actually do remember.
Okay.
I do remember being sad.
Okay.
Like, it's just like, okay, again, upset. I do remember that. Actually, I do remember those feelings, even though I was a lot younger. But those memories stay. They stay pretty clear. Yeah. For some reason, not sure. But that's just that's one of many. There's other, like, I think the most recent and the most biggest adversity that I faced was probably my recent divorce. Yeah. That was probably the tough one. Yeah. I was with my wife at the time for 10 years. And, we worked together. We had businesses together. We were with the kids 24/7. And we got to spend a lot of time together. And when I was asked for the divorce, and we separated, it was pretty tough, because that life that I knew, being with my kids 24/7, being there when they woke up, being there when they got home from school, putting them to bed, was taken away. And it was tough. It was really tough. And that was a really hard time for me, because I just wasn't sure whether I was going to get my family back. And, when I was asked to leave, I was pretty much just put out on the street, per se. And I didn't have a place to stay. I was I was bouncing around couch to couch, house to house, not committing to anything, because when you're going through a divorce, it's like you're stuck in limbo. And because you're just not sure what's going to happen next. Right. So, like I said, I was pretty much living out of my car. Yeah. It was tough, and then that was probably the hardest part. But going through that whole divorce was tough. Sure.
And I would like to speak more about the divorce, but I'd like to circle back and just ask regarding growing up in that environment, right? Sure. And earlier you mentioned you still remember those emotions. You remember being sad. You remember being upset, frustrated.
Yeah.
Right?
So there was even though, so as I got older,
Yeah.
right? As I got older, my mother, even though she was in and out of jail, she still was addicted. She'd still get high here and there, and it was frustrating. It was frustrating as I got older because I could really see and understand what she was doing and how it was happening, and it did make me sad because it was just like I'm supposed to have a mother, but I don't have a mother.
Mother figure,
a
right?
mother figure.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that she wasn't there. She was there physically, but just wasn't there.
Yeah.
Wasn't there all the time.
Understood. Just there, but not supportive or loving or really caring for you as, of course, children want to be cared for. And, wow. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to process it all.
No, it's
so
fine.
I appreciate you sharing this with us. And when you look back at those moments, what were some of the hardest moments when you think about being a child and seeing your mother go through that?
I think the hardest part through all of that was, to a sense, being alone. Right? I mean, my grandfather raised me. We had someone to raise us. It was when I say us, it was my little brother and my 3 older sisters, and we all lived in the same house. My grandfather raised all of us. It was really, it was hard because I just didn't have any support. It was like literally just out for myself, fending for myself to an extent, and just never really having the stereotypical family, right, of support and love and things like that. And not saying that my grandfather didn't love us. He did what he could with what he could. And, I think that was probably the frustrating part about it and the most sad part about it. Because I did a lot of events on my own.
Yeah.
Nobody was there. So
One thing I have to tell you, I am here and I'm going to support you, buddy.
thank you.
And I mean that as well. We've
Appreciate
had a
it.
great lunch together and we've gotten to know each other. And I love your story. I'm one of your biggest fans.
Thank you.
And I mean it. I'm going to get emotional talking about it, but I want you to know that. And I'm going to support you. And, although you talk about, the family support, now you have your own family.
Yes.
And you can just show them so much love and support them and encourage them and motivate them. So it's a beautiful thing. And we're going to be back. We're going to talk more about your adversities and your experiences. And it's going to be even more awesome.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we'll be back in a bit. Be Better with Suzan.
Hello, I'm Francisco Sanchez, Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator for Harris County. April 1st is National Census Day, and it has never been easier to respond on your own, whether online, over the phone, or by mail, all while maintaining social distance and without having to meet a census taker. By being counted in the 2020 census, you will help determine funding for emergency services that are critical to helping us respond to COVID-19 and other disasters like flooding and hurricanes. We all count, and we all get to shape our future by participating in the 2020 census. You have until August 14th to participate, but don't wait. Do it today. Visit 2020census.gov for more information.
COVID-19 transformed the way we do business. Now more than ever, fast lead generation and customer retention will determine if a business survives or not. The Now Media Video Business Card is designed to be sent using your smartphone. It's the next generation business card that will open the door for you while keeping social distancing. The Now Media Video Business Card is affordable for anyone from startups to multinational companies and is already being used by hundreds of businesses. Stay open, stay in business. Call us today.
The right tax team is key to any successful business. At America's Tax Firm, our goal is to help individuals and businesses of all sizes with accounting solutions and tax strategies that yield profitability, sustainability, and growth. At America's Tax Firm, we have a team of experienced tax consultants and advisors that can help your company optimize business strategies to minimize taxes and reduce liabilities. From preparing and filing your personal or business taxes, or choosing the right legal structure for your business, to resolving complex tax issues with the IRS, America's Tax Firm is your turnkey solution. Take a strong and decisive step and let America's Tax Firm be part of your success.
Hello, I'm Jose Hernandez, retired NASA astronaut, entrepreneur, and proud son of migrant farm workers. Our migrant families do very important work. Many follow the harvest and move frequently throughout the U.S. and thus have many needs. One way to improve your family's future is by participating in the 2020 census. The census only occurs every 10 years, but it affects public funding for clinics, schools, and other essential programs for our communities. Each person must be counted at the address where they live the most during the year. However, if you move frequently, don't worry. Simply fill out your questionnaire where you are living on April 1st, 2020. The information you provide is confidential and is not shared with other government organizations. The future of our families depends on you. So make yourself count before July 31st. For more information, visit the website 2020census.gov.
Our nation is being seriously affected, not only emotionally, but also clinically. Parents or guardians dealing with a teenager in crisis that require transport to an appropriate treatment facility makes that decision even more difficult. My Armor Services Transport is here to help. Their agents are personal protection officers and private investigators, state certified and trained to accommodate firm boundaries and de-escalations, all while recognizing your loved one's sense of individuality and dignity. Most times your loved one will not respond favorably to being placed in a treatment program. Positive and safe transportation assistance becomes critical when violent or defiant behavior to a placement is anticipated. My Armor Services Transport understands this is a difficult time for you and your family. They are committed to transporting your loved one with dignity, respect, securely, and with compassion. Let them assist with this heavy burden. Call today at 1-800-341-0919 and let My Armor Services Transport be the first strong step you take toward resolving this difficult and complicated issue.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Better with Suzan. And today in studio, I have an amazing friend. His name is Lee Perez. Lee, thank you so much for sharing your story. Now we're gonna go back and talk about your divorce. This was another adversity that you faced in your life, right? Earlier you spoke about a very hard upbringing, right? With your mother and heroin addict and all that, and you were able to overcome that, and I'm sure you're still healing, right?
Yeah.
But you know, earlier you said something that resonated with me, and it was that was your past, and our past does not define us.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
And you're living proof of that. So I'm super proud of you.
Thank you.
So the next adversity you want to talk about is going through your divorce. How hard was that?
You know, that it was really hard. I mean, for most people, you would think so. For me, it was really hard because I was very attached to my wife at the time and our kids, and the fact that we weren't the normal family, like your regular 9-to-5 parents, and you'd come and you'd go and see your kids when you see them, kind of thing. We were, like I said, we worked for ourselves. We're in business, and we got to be around each other and be with our kids 24/7. And when that was taken away, that was hard. Like, that was heartbreaking for me. It broke me. And when I say it broke me, like, I was broken. You know, when you go through a divorce, a lot of times you live for somebody else and you don't live for yourself anymore. And when I went through that, I didn't know who I was. I didn't even trust who I was. It was hard because any decision I made didn't make sense. I was unsure the entire time. It was just literally holding my nose above water. You know, most people hold their head above water. I was like holding my nose above water because I felt like I was walking around dazed and confused.
Yeah.
Most every day. And it was a challenge daily for me. I know it was hard on the kids, especially just because they went from mom and dad being together all the time, where dad's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And bouncing around from one place to the other, you know, that was hard for them as well.
It's a huge transition.
It was huge, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was it was painful. It was pretty hard.
Yeah.
So.
And how were the kids taking it during that time?
Well, the kids really didn't understand.
Okay.
How
old were they?
They were
around
5 and 8.
Okay.
So they're around 5 and 8.
Oh.
So my daughter kind of understood. My son just didn't, and he actually acted out in anger a lot. And so he was missing something. So what I did was to help him cope was I actually read the 5 love languages. And
That's great.
and figured out what was it that
Love language.
that his love language was, and how to keep his love tank full, right?
So what is his love language?
Touch and words of affirmation. So I practiced that with him, and we got him through it, and he came out okay. He's good now.
Yeah.
So,
and how about Brooklyn?
Brooklyn, acts of service.
Acts of service.
Acts of service. And so I just, I did what I normally do as a father, and I take care of my kids.
Yeah.
Right? I give them what I can and give them everything that they want to an extent, right? And I don't spoil them, but I do take care of them. And so that's how we coped through it together.
I can tell you're amazing, Dad. When you speak about them, your eyes light up. And the 5 love languages, thank you for reminding me. It's an incredible book. And I definitely recommend it. It's really interesting to know what your children, your best friend, your partner, those around you, their love language. So you're able to express it in that way, because we all walk around and we have different love languages. And I love that you were able to do the research and make sure that you're able to express that to your son during that time.
Right.
That's awesome.
It was
sweet
good
of you.
Thank you.
So what were some of the contributing factors during your divorce?
Well, like when you say contributing factors, you're saying in the
what
fact
were some
of
of the
what led up
contributing
to it?
factors that that led up to the divorce?
Well, it was more so financial.
Okay.
Right. We had a business together. We had a business with her family.
Okay.
And when they say don't do business with family, it's one of those. It's in this case, it's true. Right? I don't want to say it's true for all cases, but in this case, it was true. There was things that were happening on the money side of it that weren't adding up, and when I started asking questions and started going that route, we weren't seeing what we were supposed to be seeing, and so I just started asking questions, and that kind of led that direction, forced a wedge, and you don't. One thing I learned is you don't separate someone from their parents. Like, you don't wedge them. You don't put a wedge in them, because that will definitely drive someone a different direction.
And even if someone is able to create that wedge between the child and the parents, it won't last. I feel like I've heard a lot of stories where it comes back and it's even worse, right? Like, although they'll be able, some people will be able to isolate their parents and follow their lovers or whatever the case is, at the end of the day, I feel like, the parents need to be in the picture, and it's a wonderful thing when everyone can just get along.
Right.
But I get it, you guys were in a different situation, and I'm sad to hear that. Are you guys okay now with the family?
Yeah, so everything is normal per se.
Good.
We're in great speaking terms. We co-parent very well. She's very understanding. She doesn't keep the kids from me. She doesn't use the kids as a tool. Like in most divorces, you hear this horrible stories of the other person using the kids as leverage. In this case, it's not like that with her. She's very giving as far as time with the kids. So
Awesome.
She's been great.
That's good. That's good to hear, because you're right. I've heard where there are some parents that use their kids as leverage, which is sad. So I'm glad that that's something that you're not dealing with. So I'm happy to hear that you guys are cordial and co-parenting. Wonderful. And you just bought a house as well, right?
Yeah, so just got into a house, which has been great. Just moved this Monday, so that's been fun. And yeah, it's great. The kids love it. They have a bigger space for themselves.
Aww.
And the dog has a yard.
Run around freely.
So yeah, it's been great, and we're excited.
Oh, I'm glad. Well, I'm glad to hear that you and your ex-wife are co-parenting once again. And it's also a better space for the children, right? When the parents can, when both mom and dad can co-parent healthy. So I feel like you and your ex-wife have been through a lot, but I'm happy to hear that you guys are doing well and evolving and just making sure that the kids are taken care of and that they're happy. And I bet, I don't know Brooklyn and Beckham, but I bet they're so happy just to see, although mom and dad are separated, at least they're getting along. At least they're happy. So that's amazing, because I'm not a parent, but I have a ton of nieces and nephews, and I feel like at the end of the day, I just want to make them happy. I want to make sure that they know that they're loved, and we're all in good vibes and good energy. So that's amazing. Good for you.
It's been work, a lot of hard work. However, we made it work.
I bet.
We made it work. So
I bet. I'm proud of you, bud.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, so we're going to be back with more with Lee Perez in a bit. Be Better with Susan. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Francisco Sanchez, Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator for Harris County. April 1st is National Census Day, and it has never been easier to respond on your own, whether online, over the phone, or by mail, all while maintaining social distance and without having to meet a census taker. By being counted in the 2020 census, you will help determine funding for emergency services that are critical to helping us respond to COVID-19 and other disasters like flooding and hurricanes. We all count, and we all get to shape our future by participating in the 2020 census. You have until August 14th to participate, but don't wait. Do it today. Visit 2020census.gov for more information.
COVID-19 transformed the way we do business. Now more than ever, fast lead generation and customer retention will determine if a business survives or not. The Now Media Video Business Card is designed to be sent using your smartphone. It's the next generation business card that will open the door for you while keeping social distancing. The Now Media Video Business Card is affordable for anyone from startups to multinational companies and is already being used by hundreds of businesses. Stay open, stay in business. Call us today.
The right tax team is key to any successful business. At America's Tax Firm, our goal is to help individuals and businesses of all sizes with accounting solutions and tax strategies that yield profitability, sustainability, and growth. At America's Tax Firm, we have a team of experienced tax consultants and advisors that can help your company optimize business strategies to minimize taxes and reduce liabilities. From preparing and filing your personal or business taxes, or choosing the right legal structure for your business, to resolving complex tax issues with the IRS. America's Tax Firm is your turnkey solution. Take a strong and decisive step and let America's Tax Firm be part of your success.
Hello, I'm Jose Hernandez, retired NASA astronaut, entrepreneur, and proud son of migrant farm workers. Our migrant families do very important work. Many follow the harvest and move frequently throughout the U.S. and thus have many needs. One way to improve your family's future is by participating in the 2020 census. The census only occurs every 10 years, but it affects public funding for clinics, schools, and other essential programs for our communities. Each person must be counted at the address where they live the most during the year. However, if you move frequently, don't worry. Simply fill out your questionnaire where you are living on April 1st, 2020. The information you provide is confidential and is not shared with other government organizations. The future of our families depends on you. So make yourself count before July 31st. For more information, visit the website 2020census.gov.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Better with Suzan. In studio today, I have the amazing Lee Perez. He's been sharing some inspirational stories about his adversity. Earlier we were talking about your divorce, and I'm so happy to hear that you guys are in a good place, in a good space, right? There was a lot of work and effort and dedication to get both of you to where you're at now. But were there any repercussions from the divorce?
I think the biggest repercussion was, being asked, the hardest part was being asked to leave, right? That was the hardest part. And when I was asked to leave, it was like I mentioned earlier, I was pretty much living out of my car.
Oh,
I had a bag, I had some clothes, and a car, and so that was it. And so I packed up my things and didn't really know what to do next. All I could think about was, where do I go? Who do I call? And one person came to mind. And that person, he's actually my best friend. He's like a brother to me. I love him dearly.
What's his name?
His name is Johnny J.
Johnny J.
Yeah,
Shout out to Johnny J.
DJ Johnny J. So he was actually the first person I called. He helped me, like we knew each other when we worked in the clubs many years ago, and he was always generous and kind to me. He helped me grow my business, or grow our business, the family business, and he's seen what I've done and seen the things that I accomplished, and it just felt right to call him. When I called him and told him what happened, he opened his doors for me immediately and said, just come stay with me and we'll figure it out.
That's a real friend, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's that guy you can call at 3 o'clock in the morning when you have a tire.
And we all need someone like that in our life.
Yeah,
right?
we do.
So, and I see the love you have for him because your eyes are getting a little watery. Johnny J, for real. I see him. But and it's all good. I love it. That's amazing. So I want to backtrack real quick. When you left the house and you had a bag and then you had the car, I mean, what did you do that first night? Did you park somewhere and just try to shut your eyes and get some sleep, or how did that look like?
The first night I called Johnny J. Like I literally called him, and like at first, really, when I left, I was just like in awe. Like, what do I do? Like, do I just camp out? Like what do I do, right?
Yeah.
And after I was able to grab my bearings, I called him, and it was probably it was late at night.
Yeah.
And he just told me to come over, and that's how that's what it was. But it's just like the initial shock.
Yeah.
Of what do I do?
What do I do? Where do I go?
exactly.
Yeah, and I bet during that time as well, you're trying to process so many emotions, right? I mean, what to do, where to go, where do you sleep, about your kids, and how about your children during that time? Did they know that you weren't living at home?
They didn't know. They knew that I wasn't there, right? They obviously, because I wasn't there. I still got to see them. Like the first couple weeks, they didn't stay with me. They didn't get to stay with me. I just kind of I would take them to, I would pick them up through the day, and I'd see them, and then I'd drop them off, and then I'd go stay with Johnny for a couple of days. Stay with him for a couple of weeks.
Okay, you stayed with him for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and then after that, I went to another friend. She had gone through a divorce, and she was kind of like helping me, and she gave me a place to stay for a little while. She even gave me a job for a little while. And I would give them, pick up the kids, and they would stay with me there, and they would ask, like, well, what are we doing here? And I couldn't tell them the truth, like, hey, your dad's doesn't have a place to stay. I just have to tell them, oh, we're just watching the house, or we're going to be staying here today, and they didn't really understand.
So they didn't question it.
They didn't question
okay,
it. Yeah, they were like, sure, let's go.
Yeah.
And then there's another time. There's another place that I ended up staying, and we stayed there for a little bit longer. And they would see me for the weekend, and I would have them there on the weekends. And we managed. You know, we just managed. They may have had an idea. I don't know if they did. Yeah. But we managed to keep it to where it was manageable for them. Mm-hmm. So
I'm sure it was a huge transition for them, and being in so many different environments, right? Being at that age. Is it something that comes up now since they're older, right? What are their ages now again?
9 and 13.
A little bit older.
A little bit older.
Brooklyn's 13, right?
Brooklyn's 13.
Okay, so does she talk about that?
She doesn't talk too much. My son does. He remembers everything.
Every little detail.
He remembers everything. And so the last house I stayed at a house, was basically house sitting. It just happened to be, nobody was there, so I was house sat there, and stayed there for maybe a month or so. And at that time, before we had gotten separated, I had started a real estate investing company where we're flipping houses and whatnot. And we had to tell the kids, like, this is one of our investment houses, and we're just staying here until we flip it. And my son still asks about that. He's like,
sticks out to him.
Yeah, he's like, what happened to that house? We call it the LB2 house. That was the name of the company at the time. And yeah, he still asks about it. And I just have to tell him, I kind of like go the other way. I redirect.
So, how's the weather, son?
Exactly, pretty much.
Just kidding. Wow. Yeah, and my advice, a friend to friend, I think when they get older, and if you feel like it's something you want to talk about, you should share it. It's a part of your journey, right?
It is.
And I feel like at that young age, if we're trying to explain something to children, they may not be able to understand and process it. But as they get older, if it's something that you kind of want to clear the air with, or if you want to open up and just talk about that whenever the time is right, and if that's something you're interested in, then I would encourage you to do that, because I believe that they are going to be reminded of how strong you are, and they're going to have even more respect because you've been through so much and you have came on top. I mean, you're doing so well right now. Yeah. Something you should be proud of.
Thank you.
So that's just my thoughts.
It is something I do want to. I will share with them in due time. Like, that's something I do want to let them know and share that story with them, because I do believe they do deserve to know what happened, so they can fully understand the circumstances.
Yeah.
And what happened.
Absolutely.
So
and I
do want to do that.
Yeah, I love that. And I think you're right, maybe a little bit older, right? Like teens, right?
Yeah.
But whenever you feel like it's right, but and you'll know when the time is right to be able to share that. But I, for one, believe that it's just going to bring you guys so much closer, and they're going to have even more admiration and respect and love for you, because they know you've been through so much, and you're a warrior.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. So you and Johnny J still keep in touch?
Absolutely. We're
awesome.
We're, like I said, he's like a brother.
Oh, that's amazing. So was it difficult to call him? Because of course with men, you know, we have you guys have like, you know, a little toughness, you know, and it may be hard to be vulnerable. So how was it? How difficult was it to pick up the phone and just let him know what you were going through?
It was embarrassing. That's the best way I could put it. It was almost embarrassing to let him know what was going on. And
I'm sorry, did he know that there was friction in the marriage beforehand?
no,
Okay.
he didn't know. He didn't know anything. It's
Okay.
like I just caught him off guard.
Okay.
And he didn't ask any questions. He didn't say, well, what's happening? He just said, just come on over.
Yeah. Not what
That's it.
happened. Why didn't you tell me what was going on, dude?
Yeah,
Right?
nothing like that.
Just like, all right, don't worry, just come over.
You just come over.
It's
It was
amazing.
that simple. And I think he was my biggest supporter. He saw more in me than I saw myself. You know, at that time I didn't see anything in myself. You know, I just didn't know who I was. But he was my biggest support system. And had it not been for him, I don't know how I would have made it through.
Yeah.
But he was like my rock throughout that whole time.
I love that.
So
And I see the tears in your eyes. You have so much love for this guy. Like, I want to meet you, Johnny J. I really do. And give me your hand. I'm proud of you, bud.
Thank you.
You know, and those people in your life that get you through the tough times and that are your rock. And, you know, you can call at 3 a.m. and they're like, hey, come over. I got you.
Right.
You're so blessed beyond measure. You really are. And, you know, for you to think, I don't know how I would get through without him. But you know what? You don't have to think about that because he got you through and you are just doing so well for yourself. You just bought an amazing house for the kids, right? And they're happy. You have a great, healthy relationship. You're co-parenting with your ex-wife. You have a great job. I mean, there's so much going for you. And this is just the beginning.
Right.
You know, we talked about potentially you speaking and sharing your message and you're coaching as well. So you're inspiring people, you're changing lives, and you're doing so much. So I am proud of you.
Thank you.
Another question I'd like to ask is, how did you transition from his home, and then what did you do after?
Well, it was kind of, the transition was pack your bags and throw it in the car and let's see what comes next.
Okay.
So I was just kind of like, okay, I knew I didn't want to overstay my welcome.
Okay.
Right. So I stayed there for a couple weeks, and we had already made an agreement that this is how it was going to be, and I didn't want to go back on that. So I had already started. Okay, don't know what's going on with the divorce. Don't know whether we're going to reconcile or not. Not sure. So I made a call to another friend, and she opened her doors to me. Our relationship was, I coached her 3 children when I was a coach, when I coached cheerleading and tumbling. So, and I did that for 22 years. So we had a relationship, and I saw her go through her struggles. And when I told her about mine, she was open-armed as well. And she opened up her home, and she's like, hey, just come over here and I'll help you figure it out. And I've been blessed to have friends.
Heck yeah.
To support me. And it's hard to have friends when you get older because your circle gets smaller, right? And the fact that I had these people in my life at that time means a lot. It really does.
It absolutely does.
Yeah. And so to go back to your question was, I had already reached out to her beforehand to kind of tell her what was going on, not with the intent to stay there, but just to let her know what was going on. And she just happened to graciously open up her home.
That's amazing.
Just to stay there for a little while.
That's so nice to hear. Yeah, and seriously, those friends are the one that gets you through life, right? I am blessed by some amazing friends as well, and I don't know what I'd do without them. And we'll be back more with Lee Perez and Be Better with Suzan.
Hello, I'm Francisco Sanchez, Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator for Harris County. April 1st is National Census Day, and it has never been easier to respond on your own, whether online, over the phone, or by mail, all while maintaining social distance and without having to meet a census taker. By being counted in the 2020 census, You will help determine funding for emergency services that are critical to helping us respond to COVID-19 and other disasters like flooding and hurricanes. We all count, and we all get to shape our future by participating in the 2020 census. You have until August 14th to participate, but don't wait. Do it today. Visit 2020census.gov for more information.
COVID-19 transformed the way we do business. Now more than ever, fast lead generation and customer retention will determine if a business survives or not. The Now Media Video Business Card is designed to be sent using your smartphone. It's the next generation business card that will open the door for you while keeping social distancing. The Now Media Video Business Card is affordable for anyone from startups to multinational companies and is already being used by hundreds of businesses. Stay open, stay in business. Call us today.
The right tax team is key to any successful business. At America's Tax Firm, our goal is to help individuals and businesses of all sizes with accounting solutions and tax strategies that yield profitability, sustainability, and growth. At America's Tax Firm, we have a team of experienced tax consultants and advisors that can help your company optimize business strategies to minimize taxes and reduce liabilities. From preparing and filing your personal or business taxes, or choosing the right legal structure for your business, to resolving complex tax issues with the IRS, America's Tax Firm is your turnkey solution. Take a strong and decisive step and let America's Tax Firm be part of your success.
Our nation is being seriously affected, not only emotionally, but also clinically. Parents or guardians dealing with a teenager in crisis that require transport to an appropriate treatment facility makes that decision even more difficult. My Armor Services Transport is here to help. Their agents are personal protection officers and private investigators, state certified and trained to accommodate firm boundaries and de-escalations, all while recognizing your loved one's sense of individuality and dignity. Most times your loved one will not respond favorably to being placed in a treatment program. Positive and safe transportation assistance becomes critical when violent or defiant behavior to a placement is anticipated. My Armor Services Transport understands this is a difficult time for you and your family. They are committed to transporting your loved one with dignity, respect, securely, and with compassion. Let them assist with this heavy burden. Call today at 1-800-341-0919 and let My Armor Services Transport be the first strong step you take toward resolving this difficult and complicated issue.
He loves saying that. Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Better with Susan. I'm so glad to have you here with us today. In studio, I have my buddy Lee Perez, and he has been just sharing some amazing inspirational stories. I would like to ask you, you shared earlier about a very tough upbringing, right? Having a very hard environment of seeing your mom shooting up heroin, right? In different, what would you call them? Crack house? What would you call it?
Yeah, we just call them dope houses.
Dope houses, right? I'm sorry, I want to make sure I'm saying the right thing. And then, you went through that. It was really hard from what you explained, and then the divorce that you experienced with your wife, and also being somewhat homeless, right? And staying with your buddy and not sure what tomorrow brings. Where are you going to be living? Where are you going to be laying your head? So from all of those adversities that you faced, what was the biggest lessons from them?
The biggest lessons I can say that I took from that is you don't have to be a product of your environment, right? Your circumstances aren't permanent unless you choose for them to be. And that's one thing I've learned throughout the years. And it takes time, it takes practice. You know, we're all human. It's not the easiest thing to get through or to wrap your head around, but with coaching and with just self-investment, you know, investing in yourself and however that looks for anybody, you know, it's doable. It's possible. For myself, I invested in doing personal development courses, even when I didn't have any money. You know,
Found a way.
I enrolled in my first personal development course, and when I saw it and I saw the tools that it could do, I took part of my rent money and I paid for it. I didn't know how I was going to pay for rent, but I was like, I knew I needed to do this.
It's amazing, buddy.
And then I did it, and that's what pushed me through.
Yeah. And how have you grown from those adversities?
Wow. I know, well, when it comes to growth, I just know that anything is possible in reality. Like, bad times don't last forever. They don't. And with some discipline and commitment, anything is possible. Like, you can get through life and have more in life if you want. So I've definitely grown in that way, believing and knowing that life is what I want it to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like you hit it on the head. Like, it's our life and we decide how we want it to turn out, right? After the loss of my arm, I was in the darkest place I'd ever known. I was self-medicating. I was bitter. I was angry. I was depressed. I was isolating myself, and I was not able to speak about how I was feeling. So I was holding it all in. And next thing you know, I ended up in jail with an assault case because I let the anger get the best of me, right? So that was my turning point. I knew when I was sitting in jail, I was like, I need to do better. Like, this is not me. Either I'm going to have a really horrible life, or either I need to change now. I need to do better. I need to be better. So that was my turning point. And it took a lot of investment, time in myself, right? A lot of love, a lot of self-care, a lot of retraining my brain to see the good in things. Although it's so wild for me to look back and think about what was the good out of losing my arm. Like, if you asked me during that time, I mean, there are many moments where I didn't want to be alive, much less even think there could be any good to come out of that. But now I sit and I reflect, and I'm like, wow, now I'm able to share my message just like you're doing. You're sharing your message for others to hear, that life is what you make it, right? We have all of these different circumstances that we deal with, but at the end of the day, we can choose to either allow it to define us, or we just take a hold of our life and make the best of it. And I feel like that's what you've done. Right. So I'm uber proud of you.
Thank you. And you hit it right on the head. I mean, it's a choice. It really is. And that's the most powerful way of being, is being able to choose. And being able to have that can change everything.
I agree. I love that. And one of my best friends and I were having a conversation, just having a cocktail and talking, and I was like, life is a choice. We wake up, we have the blessing of waking up. We decide who we want to surround ourselves with. We decide what we want to eat for lunch. We decide what we want to wear. We decide what we want to do that day. Like, every single thing we do is our choice. So at the end of the day, we can't blame anyone else. You know, we just have to deal with the cards we were dealt with. Right. And although it seems, you know, so unfair, right? I'm sure you've experienced that. Yes. I've experienced how unfair and how devastating it was, but I could sit there and just feel sorry for myself, or I could actually do something about it. So I'm so proud of you. I said it once and I could say it a million times. So how does life look for you now?
Well, life for me now is great. I've picked up a hobby, like a childhood, a lifelong dream per se. I actually do jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu now. So it's
watch out, guys.
and so that's one of those things that I'm super excited about, super passionate about. And both my kids train as well. So
It's
a family thing. So it's I think that's like one of the biggest highlights from day in, day out for me. And then work. I mean, I've been able to create a better life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're essential, buddy.
Yeah.
You're essential, and you've been busy every day, and thank God for that. And I love that you and the kids do something together, right? I mean, that's so fun. And I mean it. If there's a competition, I'd love to come and support.
Absolutely.
I think that'll be so fun. So aside from that, are you working on anything? I know that you mentioned you're interested in sharing your message and potentially getting on stage and speaking. Is that something that you would like to do?
It is actually. I would love to do that because of like I shared earlier, my upbringing, and the lesson being that you don't have to be a victim of your circumstances, and you can do anything in life, but just because you live where you live or you're in the situation that you're in and things like that, it's not permanent. You can always find a way to do better, but the biggest part is the choice.
Yeah.
Right? And knowing that you can make that choice.
Absolutely.
And being empowered to do so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And empowered people empower people, right?
Absolutely.
And I love that because, during my train of thought too, when I was going through that dark time, I had to decide if I was going to be a victim or if I was going to be a survivor, right? So it's all up to us. I realize that we all have our battles that we're fighting, and some are harder than others, right? And a lot of us are walking around and we don't talk about it. We don't share what's going on, but I always encourage people to be vulnerable, to really speak to those around you because you're loved and you're cared for, and people want to know how you're doing. And another thing is just, tread lightly, not you, but everyone else out there. Just, we don't know what people are going through.
Absolutely.
Would you agree with that?
I agree 100% because we just don't know. It's easy to get upset with the next person or however they may be acting. However, it's real easy to look past. It's real easy to look at that situation at that moment. But if you just step back and just reflect and just like, hey, listen, that was probably me a couple weeks ago or 2 years ago when I was going through what I was going through. So all you can do is just have some sympathy and just have patience really with everybody.
Patience.
Because we just don't know.
I love that. Do you have any advice for folks out there going through some of the adversities that you faced?
The advice that I would give anybody is have faith, right? Know that, honestly believe that anything is possible, and know that life is what you make it. And I know that sounds very general.
I resonate with it.
But it really is. It can be anything you want it to be, and you don't have to be your circumstances or your environment. You don't have to be a product of your environment.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, like you said, it may sound cliche to some, but it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Life is what you make it.
Sure.
If you want to wake up and sit on the couch and do nothing, well, that's going to be the result. Nothing's going to happen,
Absolutely.
right? But it all depends on you, right? You have to take a hold of your life and do what you want and make the complete best out of it. And Be Better with Suzan fashion. How has all of the pain and all of the experiences you went through made you better?
Number one, it's made me better as a parent, as a father. When you're going through what I went through with basically no parents has made me be the father that I didn't have, or the support system that I didn't have. And that's how it's made me better, number one, as a parent. As a person, it's helped me look at a way to contribute to others, because everybody has a story and we don't know what that is. However, by sharing my story, it can easily inspire or help someone else see their circumstances in a different light and know that they can move in a different direction. So,
I love that. And that's why I'm just your biggest fan, you know. I feel like we met, we had a great lunch, we got to know each other, and I've heard your story, and I am just blown away by your resilience and how far you've come. And once again, I feel like it's just the beginning. So I'm going to be here. I'm going to support you. I'm going to cheer you on.
Thank
If
you.
I could clap, I would, but I'll bring my clapper next time, okay? So are there any final words you'd like to share with the audience?
not quite too sure what to say now.
You said it all,
I
buddy.
think I said it all. The only thing I could say is love each other.
Yeah.
You know, love each other, be patient with each other, and be positive.
I love that. And we need to be reminded of that each
Yeah.
and every day. Well, that's all for today. I am so grateful for you and for your time and for your story and for sharing that. And you have such an inspirational message. I believe in you, and I know this is just the beginning.
Thank you.
And I'm going to be here every step of the way.
Awesome.
To support
Appreciate
you.
that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sending you good vibes and a great big hug. Thank you for tuning in to Be Better with Suzan.